Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast of you cruise a little smarter, and I'd like to welcome back to the show all the way down in Florida. How are you doing today, Christy?
I'm well, Steve. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm going to see if I can talk really fast today so we can get through this episode.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of words said.
There are going to be a lot of words. And let's just jump into it. We are super excited to bring back one of our first guests. It's been a moment since she sailed with Disney Cruise Line, and we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But welcome back to the show, Amy, all the way back in Michigan. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Steve and Christy. Thanks for having me back.
We had such a good time talking with you the first time, and I was like so excited to talk to you again with another cruise. And then things changed a little bit. But before we talk about that, what's new with you and your family?
Well, we are doing great. My son is now 12. Our last cruise, I know, time flies. It was in 2019, and we had booked a cruise to go back again, onboard booking. But when I got off that cruise, I had 19 days where I felt like I was on moving sidewalk. I felt like I was just vibrating and moving. And like if I just stood here long enough, I would eventually just hit that wall, 10 feet down the road. So I work on the second floor of the building. I couldn't take stairs or elevator. I had to eventually just close my eyes and climb the stairs. And I was able to get up there. So it was a very weird syndrome. And it went away in 19 days. I'm like, this is a crazy motion problem. I sold my Disney Dooney and Burke purse to somebody because I'm like, I can't ever cruise again. I just finally got better. And I said, I don't know if I should cruise again. So I talked to my doctor and they said, oh yeah, it's probably the syndrome. You probably shouldn't talk. Well, I talked to one of the doctors in the group. Yeah, you should probably never cruise again. You could get this. It could be permanent, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward 2021, I had the exact same experience, but not from cruising. I had it from Disney World. I had a lot of late nights. We did after hours. We did a Moonlight Magic. We did all this wonderful happiness Christmas party. And I had the same thing. But this time it lasted for 6 weeks. And I felt like I was in a bounce house all the time. And so I went to my actual doctor, not one, and he did all this testing. And he leaned me on this bed, leaned me backward, forward. He said, I think you have what's called male day debarkment syndrome. And it's common in middle-aged women. And it's a syndrome from movement. And the first time you have it, you trigger it. And it's like a thing you have. And you could get it again. It could be triggered by random stuff. It could be triggered by an elevator, by a long car ride. And the three things I suggest you do are: one, don't drink any alcohol, at least till you get better. And because I was kind of doing this thing, I'm like, I can't even sleep at night. I feel like I'm shaking. And then I, bouncing around. And so I go have a glass of wine, help me fall asleep. He's like, no. No drinking of alcohol for a little while. Hydrate as much as you possibly can, like more than 100 ounces a day if you can, and get as much sleep as possible. Even if you have to, get in bed at 8 p.m. to give yourself 10, 11 hours in bed. Even if you don't sleep, just try to rest as long as you can. And those three things, avoiding alcohol, sleeping properly, and hydrating, I was better within 3 days, completely better. And I had been bouncing around for 6 weeks, kind of half taking care of myself. And the things that sort of trigger it are going to be the motion. But for me, in addition to that, it's you're on the cruise, you don't drink a ton of water. You got to fill the thing. You got to carry the bottle around. You know what? I got a string bag. I got a big water bottle. So backward a little. Once I figured out how to treat this and I got better, I called Christy. I said, Christy, I need to book another cruise. Let's get us on board. And the cruises were coming up and we were on booking day and I'm silver. So I said, book the cruise and do a 3-night just so we can test the waters, pun intended, and we'll see how it goes. And so I got a string bag, carried around a water bottle. I'd have one drink with dinner. I would maybe have a drink during the day, go a few hours, maybe have a drink at night, but certainly nothing right before bed and not more than one drink at a sitting. Hydrated well, went to bed on time. No problems. So I won't spoiler alert till the end. We do have another cruise booked, number 4. This was cruise 3 for us on Disney. Cruise 4 is booked in 115 days. And then cruise 5 is also booked. So we are back on board. Hopefully things go smoothly. Longer cruise, but inside passage will hopefully be fine. So for anyone out there, if you're having any syndrome, hydrate, avoid too much alcohol, get enough sleep, and hope for the best.
And I would say for people with just mild motion problems when you get off a ship, I always take Dramamine, especially for a long cruise. Like I don't usually have to for a weekend cruise anymore, but I'll still take Dramamine for 1 to 2 days when I get home so that I don't have a little bit of land sickness.
Yeah, I'm fine on board. Even with all these problems I've had in the past, I'm 100% fine on board. And I was fine on board this time as well. I did afterward maybe felt a tiny bit of motion here and there. And I would just make sure I was getting enough sleep, getting hydrated, and didn't have any drinks when we got off for a while, and it was fine. So it was good.
I'm not a doctor, but thank you so much, Amy, for talking about this. And I know that I know we've talked to other listeners before that have had, motion issues afterwards. I know my wife, Anawake, had it for not as bad as you had, but for a couple of days after we got off on our cruises as well. So one of the things that I found as being a pilot flying around that with the majority of the medical situations we have on board, it's either somebody not taking their medicine that they should have taken, and dehydration usually plays a huge part into it, whether that's having too much alcohol or just not drinking enough while they're on vacation and now they're flying back to wherever they're going to, and then they get sick or have some issues on board. So I think that hydrating is a huge part that as I'm drinking my coffee that a lot of us do not do enough of. Exactly. Well, let's jump into this one. You guys booked the Disney Wish. It's a 3-day. You sailed last February. You went to Nassau, Castaway Cay, and then back to Port Canaveral. Who sailed with you this time? And we'll just kind of go from day by day, I guess, as we go through it.
Yep, sounds good. This is myself and my husband and our 12-year-old son. We are DVC members, so we decided to make this into a little vacation. And we did 3 nights at Riviera and then 3 nights on the Disney cruise. And just to summarize our Disney World component fast, we stayed in a studio, non-preferred view, which is great because you can see the Skyliner, and that's almost more preferred to us. Just beautiful. I'm so glad we bought Riviera. It's just wonderful. That pool and the blue sky and just sitting in there looking at the Skyliner. It's just wonderful. Beautiful hotel. Highly recommend it. And the Bar Riva was great there. And we did, I love Bar Riva. Delicious food, great drinks. My kid got some mocktails. And we did a DVC scavenger hunt there, which was fun. And we had to find the artwork around and put the little sticker on it, turn it in, and we have a print, which I know we're recording. People can't see this, but I have a fun little print here that we framed, and it's a little Riviera print. So it's kind of fun. And we ended up going after that first relaxing day by the pool, watching the Skyliner. We went full force 2 days in the parks with our friends they've been to Disney. They went once for Star Wars, but beside that, they hadn't been since for years. And we did 4 parks in 2 days, just the best of the best. They got us into the GM Test Track Lounge, which was great. The Flame Tree Barbecue, we ate around the world, got to ride Guardians twice because we did the Moonlight Magic, did it once with our boarding group and once after. Got to have Skipper canteen food and just fireworks. It rained as soon as the fireworks ended that we were a little stuck, but it worked out great. It was a great little trip to Disney World. And then we just decided to book Disney transfer to get to the port, which was on Friday morning. So they wanted our bags at 7 a.m. And then she was meeting us at 8:45 a.m. I was like, 7 a.m., that's so early. So the guy came and I'm like, we're really not ready. Can we bring them down later? Oh yeah, it's fine. But just a tip to others, if they do this, your bags actually go ahead of you, it turns out. So when we showed up at like 8:15, the guy was looking like nervous, like he wanted our bags and he wanted to take them to the port. So in the future, I think we will try our hardest to get them ready a little sooner than that and just put our toothbrush in our carry-on for after breakfast. But that was that. And then the nice lady met us about 8:45, and there was another couple with us. So the 5 of us left Riviera out promptly at 9 a.m. After that, stopped at a few other places and arrived 10:45. We got through security and we were boarding at 11:50 a.m. And the reason we got on so early is because we had booked the Disney cruise transfer, which took us directly from the Riviera to the port with our bags. When it was time for our 30-day check-in, we didn't have to pick a boarding group. It had already been assigned to us. So we were assigned boarding group 3, which was a port arrival at time at it was either 11 or 11:15. And the boat was a little 30 minutes behind on boarding, but we were right on time. So it was amazing. A, it was easy to get to the port with the Disney transfer, but B, we got this boarding group 3 without having to get on at midnight and fill around and hope for the best. With us being silver, although no, we didn't have an advantage that, to check in or check out or whatever, but it worked out great.
For the listeners, I think one thing with Amy is that she is an Uber planner and it's adorable. It's always going to be, so the tips that she's going to provide are going to be so helpful for those people who want how to best the experience. And so that's what that transfer situation for her. She wanted to make sure she could board quickly. She could have taken a different mode of transportation at the port, but just decided, I want to be in the earliest boarding group. So it'll go concierge, repeat cruisers, concierge, and then they go into the Disney transportation. So this is an easy way to get among those first boarding groups. If that is something that's important to you, you can get picked up from a Walt Disney World resort, the Hyatt at the airport, or just the regular terminal at the airport.
So is that new, or am I out to lunch on that? I thought it was always kind of random when you get to the port. Am I out to lunch?
Well, so it used to be that Disney transfers from the hotels weren't until later. And then at the airport, it was sort of just when you showed up and got in line and then got there. But now Disney started picking up the hotels early in the morning. I think they were getting a lot of pushback because they weren't arriving until 1 or 2. And so that was just so late for people.
Especially on the 3-day cruise when then you're losing time. Exactly.
Right.
So
we did that from Coronado, and I think they picked us up at 1:15. I was like, what? You've got to be kidding me. Our port arrival time was 11:45. So we arrived 2 hours after. But now this new way, as long as they stick with it, they started boarding the first group 11:30. We were on board watching the wish ceremony at 11:50, 20 minutes later. So it was nice.
That's awesome.
So before we talk about your cruise specifically, what were you excited about getting on the Disney Wish? Brand new ship, must have been amazing seeing her as you pulled into port. It's been so long since you cruised, but what were you excited about getting able to experience on the Disney Wish?
Just that, it's like the family vacation where you're spending time together, but everyone's doing what they want to do, having nice dinners together, kids going to the edge, husband and wife getting to hang out, spend some time together. We strolled around deck 4, or is it deck 5 outside? Why did they take the running track away? I just don't even. But we were outside right under where where the captain sits, the bridge.
The bridge.
Yeah. Walking around out there, just getting to spend time together, getting to hang out, relaxing, walking on this beautiful ship, great food, great shows, just an amazing vacation. All included. It was wonderful.
Yes, and what was that like for your family walking into the Grand Hall? I keep having a hard time calling it the Grand Hall, but the Grand Hall, and experiencing that the first time on the Disney Wish. What did you think of the new ship?
Just beautiful. We got there a little early, that 20 minutes we had sitting in the port, we were able to get onto the ship Wi-Fi and go onto the app and start looking around at all the stuff we wanted to do. And then it was time to board. We got right on, and it was that little gangway. You can kind of start to see a little bit of the lobby, and then you're looking in there, and then you enter, and it's there's the stage, and there are those little lights that are built in that are shimmering, and that the beautiful carpet, and there's just stuff everywhere. It was just amazing. It's very sparkly, very twinkly, very brand new. It was amazing experience walking on board again. I'm I think we're finally here. I think this is going to be great. So I'm glad it worked out to be great.
So for your family of 3, what kind of cabin did you book?
We did the regular veranda room, not the deluxe family, the deluxe regular. And we picked one of those rooms that has the little bit bigger balcony. It's on the bump out. And so we were able to have this beautiful balcony that we could sit on. We had breakfast every day out there. It just adds to the room, it gives you that little bit of extra space to go sit outside. And I mean, the rooms are great, honestly. I remember it being small, but I'm like, this is great. This is just a perfect size. They have that curtain that goes across between the sleeping area and the sitting area. So our son had his own little space at night, and we had our own space. The double bathrooms, wonderful, plenty of storage. We just have packing cubes, so we just stack them up. People talked about storage, but for us, we use packing cubes. We're almost better off with shelves over drawers. So it worked out perfect for us.
That's a tip I don't think we've ever really talked about, Christy, is that with the type of space that they have on the Wish, that would be a great way to store your stuff or pack your family stuff.
Organize everybody's
That's
stuff.
the word I'm
Absolutely.
looking for.
And we're color coded. So I have purple. One of them uses blue. One of them uses red. I can never remember who uses what. And you grab your own cube, get what you need, and then you put an order like all your pants are in this one, all the bottoms, all the tops, all the underwear and socks are in the other one. And off we go. Put it back when you're done. Throw the laundry underneath. Life is good.
What themed room did you have?
We had the Cinderella.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was cute.
Are you a big princess fan?
I guess. I mean, yeah. I like all the characters. That's one thing I'll say later about the lines. We didn't wait in lines for characters, but we like seeing them. But looking down, watching them, and this and that. So, but the lines are nuts with those characters. They should have more meet and greets or longer something. Hopefully they'll listen to this. They'll get all the tips they need from us.
And actually, there's a lot of reports right now because the ships are sailing so full and they hadn't been for so long that like the sailings even going on, we're recording in early May, but even occurring right now where people are coming back and just saying the lines for characters are long. So I guess I would just tell people to sort of pack their patience with that, get to the line early if it was somebody that you really wanted your kid to meet, and maybe bring something to entertain your little ones if they're waiting in those character lines, because I'm trying to remember, were they always long? Like, do they have less characters? Are there more people going to characters? Were they always long and we forgot? Like, I don't know the answer to that, but I guess I'd be curious what other people think. But the lines are long, but it's possible that they were long in 2019 and we just don't remember.
Yeah. And I think people have now learned to line up early.
Yeah.
But, if you line up 30 minutes early and you're sitting there, you're still 30 minutes in line until things get going. But then that line gets so long, it's almost like, I don't want to get in that line. And by the time they count out the people, they like close the line. You can't even get in line when it hasn't even started yet. So I did want to meet Captain Minnie. So I'm happy that we're cruising again. So I can hopefully meet her next time.
Something that I usually do if I really want, I think Steve caught us over our Christmas cruise. Like sometimes I'll just stand at the front of the line, not in a way, so wherever the line ends or like where the next person is waiting to go meet the character, stand behind them, stand by the photographers. And like that exchange between people going up to the character and the next one, if I just want the picture of the person in the outfit, then I can take it at that moment and I can like time it right. You can't interfere. It's not your time. You can't ask them to pose. None of those things happen. But eventually either somebody in line will ask the character to pose and you can get your picture, or you can get a picture like in between the two people. So I guess that would be something. And then remember though, not to interfere with people getting their families picture taken and all that, but it's a good way to get those cute pictures without maybe having to be in that line. It doesn't help your kid though, that wants to hug the character, but I guess it helps your social media.
He will meet characters with us, but it is not on the high list of his priorities.
That's our kids these days as well. So how did you spend the first day then, Amy?
So I didn't realize at the time you can sign up for the walking tour on the app, but we stood in line to get it real quick and it was fast. And they put us in line for they signed us up for a walking tour on our 11:30 a.m. on our Nassau day. And then we went to Marceline Market and had a delicious lunch. I just love their seafood and vegetarian options. I don't know how they make mass amounts of seafood for people, and it's delicious, but it was delicious. We were delighted. Then we toured the Oceaneer Club, which is amazing, all those areas and the princess stuff and this and that, because he's 12, so he could go up or down. And he's like, Mom, I can see the tops of these kids' heads. I'm like towering over them. This is like, he's looking around. He's like, I think I want to turn my bracelet back in, his magic band. So I'm like, well, just fun to see, walk around. Let's see the Marvel stuff, Star Wars stuff. And then we went up to the edge and he was like looking around. He's like, I think I found my home. So we signed him up for the edge with the in and out, they automatically have the in and out privileges. It was closed because it was just there for the tour. So played basketball on the half court for a while. And then we went to the Hyperspace Lounge. And that was with all 5 of us. My friend and her husband are traveling with us. And we had drinks. I know people say that they don't find it to be like as themed in there, but I feel like it's perfectly themed for what it is. It's supposed to be like this fancy cruise ship, which it is, but like in the Star Wars world. And so you're not going to see a, bubbling vat of pickled bugs or whatever they're eating over there in those vats. So I don't know. I feel like you walked in like you're in a fancy cruise liner up in space and they have the screen behind you with the scene, and then it zips into hyperdrive and you see the stars and everything vibrates a little. And I don't know, it was just a great place. I mean, they maybe could have put up a few more like windows with stuff zipping by or some little details, but watching that big window and the ship just vibrating, the seats moving, I don't know. I was like, I feel like our seats are actually vibrating. Is that just the floor or what? I don't know how it happened, but it was pretty magical. We just had a drink there. The Moons of Endor is what we had, mix of herbs and berries from the Forest Moon Service, Belvedere, blackberry, and lemongrass, Amaretto Velvet, $15. And the score in there was great. There was cool music playing. So it was very wonderful. We didn't make it back, but I hope to make it back again on the next one.
Fun drinks. I think it's a great space. In all honesty, they mix it up a little bit, so it's like something that you can't find elsewhere. We've talked about the beers that are a little bit different. I do appreciate that, and I think you said that well. And I'm glad that they don't have the pickled bugs. So,
right. Someone might try to eat one of those.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Let me throw one other thing. What Amy was talking about, and if you don't know, if your kids aren't edge age, what they get is they get a little sticker and they put it on the back of their Key to the World card. And that's what lets them come and go to the edge and then also the vibe as well if you have older kids. So anyways, go ahead, Amy.
Yeah. So he did, fast forward the next day, he did turn his kids club band in and never went back to the kids club. He went edge full speed ahead and never looked back. In-person muster drill, not much to say, but too bad it's not on the app anymore. And then we went to the sail away party on a deck. It was fun, characters, music, people dancing around. As we sailed away, we waved at the webcam. I should go back and see if I can see us waving. We quickly unpacked and just sort of freshened up and got ready for our dinner at Arendelle.
But for the listeners, we talked about this for a couple of minutes, and Christy pulled it up on the internet to try and figure out is it Arendelle?
Arendelle, I think.
Arendelle. Yeah. The home of Sven. The
land of the errands, the Dells. Which was great. I should look up my table number, but it was a great table. We had a great location nearby the stage. We were seated with 8 people, the 5 of us, plus a family of 3 who we saw on the first night, but that was it. They were nice. We'd run across them in the ship, and I think they enjoyed doing their own thing. But I just would say we really loved the show because we had good seats. I could see how people might be stuck in the back and have a hard time. And we love the food. I had the smoked fish and scallop puff pastry appetizer, the famous puff pastry one, delicious, and the Chilean sea bass. And of course, Steve recommended a little tiny mini pancakes. So I had to have little tiny mini pancakes. So they were great. They were so cute, little pinwheel. Dessert, not too.
Why do I not even remember that anybody ate tiny pancakes and that conversation happened? I don't know. apparently I just let it go because I can't have it. But like, I don't even have a recollection of
it was. I'm like uber listener. I listen to all your content and I hold on to every word. I take notes half the time. And so, I mean, that's how I learned about the potatoes, which will come up in 2 days, but the pancakes made my list and they were delicious. It was perfect. You know, those big desserts is just too much sometimes after you've had a big meal and all this. After it was great. It was good service. You know, it was prompt. It wasn't lots of chit chat, which worked out fine for us. So we kind of looked at the art on board, wandered around a little bit, and then we rope dropped the Seize the Adventure show. Actually, 4 of us did. The adults, my kid had, which I learned from your son, Steve, to go to the icebreaker right on the first night. So he ate and then took off and went up there and did the icebreaker stuff.
Was that in the app or was it like posted on the board?
It was in the app. We found it and we knew to look for it. I feel like that's not talked about enough. The amount of how important it is to like find your crew. You know, it's awkward. You know, kids are like staying around, you know, the boys on the left, girls on the right, no one wants to dance, you know, kind of thing. But in this case, it's like somehow they get them to open up and they go around, they talk about themselves. You kind of find the people that you have stuff in common with. Oh, I like Minecraft too, or oh, I like Pokemon too, or I'm on the swim team. And those are all the things my kid does.
Do you know when that occurred? Like, was it, I guess.
It was right. It was during the show. So I can't remember if it was like 8:15 or 8 or 8:30. It was right around the same time as the show. So, and I told him he could even miss dinner if he had to, because I had looked at previous ships and it looked like it was during dinner. Like, we'll just feed you at the pool dock and send you on your way. But it worked out. It was during, it might have been 7:45. It was like, because I feel like we had that time to walk around and look in some shops and kind of look around a little. I feel like he might have gone even before 8:30 and then gone.
They probably would have done it before late dining in theory.
Correct. Right. So after early, maybe it was around 7:30, 7:45, probably. Okay. I'd look it up.
But you went to my favorite show, Seize the Adventure. Did you love it?
It is great. I love Captain Minnie. I know we didn't get to meet her in person, but that was like a great, and I saw her walk by at one point and told her how great her presentation was. It was great. It was a great show. I love all the strong female characters. It's a really wonderful show. I'm glad. Very, light and fun and great kickoff to a cruise.
I agree with you there. I think it just sets the tone perfectly for like, you're out on an adventure with your family. You're going to go see some new things and do some fun things. I think it's a great first night show.
It's a great first night show. I agree. It just sets the show. And of course we had our popcorn bucket along, filled that up. I know we just eat dinner. I'm like, well, you can always have a little bit of popcorn during the show. And then after that, of course, we checked the app and found that there was trivia at Bayou. And of course it was my trivia, Disney Parks trivia, like the parks trivia master. I could probably answer just about anything, except there was a ton of international questions. I just was like, what? I talked to her afterward. I'm like, okay, I'm a Disney Parks person. I got all the Disney Parks questions right, but I'm sorry I didn't know about Mr. Toad in Japan or whatever they were trying to ask. And she said, it's really crazy. It's a random database of like 1 million questions, and it just picks 25 questions each day. So she has no say-so, and she doesn't even know what's going to show up. And she said it was really heavy on the international questions that day. So we got them all right, except for a few of those. So we didn't come in first place.
But that's also really interesting information. Like, I don't think we've ever heard that before, where somebody said it, came from a database. So that's cool.
Yeah. I asked the questions. Yeah. I wrote that down. That. Yeah. So we knew a lot. We did come in third place. So we said next time. And then following my own rule, I said, it's time for bed. I'm heading in. And that was at Bayou. And we had a drink there. And the tip there is the sommelier bin was $11. I had requested a sparkling, although he said he couldn't do that. Like, you just have to say I don't know if he knew, maybe they would know better in rose, which we didn't make it to the rose either. But I said, well, I really don't want a red. I really would like a sparkling. And he wandered off, and he came back with a Moa and Shandon Ice, which is $15.25 drink for $11. And that was great. And then my husband, if you saw the video I posted, he got an old fashioned, and it came in this little wooden box, like with a little latch, like a jewelry box, and all the smoke came out when he opened it. And it was like a really delicious old fashioned, he said.
Do you keep the box?
No, the box goes back. Yeah.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Because I would make somebody I was cruising with get the old fashioned so I can have the little box.
It was a plain box. It wasn't super exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably would. Yeah, it'd be fine. It probably
I wouldn't keep the box. Got it.
Spilled on the bottom or whatever.
So great night's sleep, I'm sure, on those wonderful beds. And
the best beds and sheets ever.
I swear I slept better there than at home. When I need to catch up on sleep, I have to go on a cruise. I'm pretty sure it's therapeutic. Doctor's orders.
My insomnia goes away on a ship. This is all I'm saying. So I need to make my bed move. I don't know, get some better sheets. What is the answer? Right. But
right.
I sleep all night on a ship.
And no stress. No, you're just on vacation. Life is good. Yeah.
I mean, Port Canaveral is just an hour and a half away. You just pop down there anytime you need to.
Yeah. You get a good night's sleep.
So the next day you guys are on to Nassau. I'm guessing, being on the Disney Wish, you would probably want to spend the time on the ship. What did you guys have planned that day? Did you get off or
what did you guys do? We ordered the light continental breakfast and just had a snack on our the fruit and coffee and sat on the balcony and just enjoyed the day. We did decide to walk off the ship in Nassau. We hadn't been there in a while. My son was kind of curious, but as soon as we got off, it was, crowded and lots of people trying to get you to take a 4x4 ride or buy a cigar or get a tattoo, braid your hair. So we just decided that we would
get the
walk
tattoo
down the beach, get a tattoo, right? My hair's still braided. We got down to the beach, that one Junku Beach, just took in the palm trees, got some vitamin D, enjoyed the weather, and then turned back around. It was in and out. My kid bought hacky sack gifts for his buddy. We were back on board in time for our 11:30 walking ship tour. And I think because we had such a light breakfast, we had a little snack before our walking ship tour. And that was amazing. I have tons of notes on this.
Let's not gloss over that too much, but what were maybe one or two highlights that you learned about the Wish that maybe the rest of us don't know?
Well, I really feel like it was well worth the time. A couple of things they talked about is how part of the ship was themed as Disney enchantment, which is why the carpet is green and it's forest and animals, green themed, green carpet, green walls. That's why the theater is green. And then the back of the ship, it's an immersive Disney castle, and it's got the red carpet and the blue princess walls. And even the carpet, if you look down, has 6 different things. I won't spoil it, but there's 6 things and you couldn't see it at all until you saw it. And then you couldn't unsee it. These hidden objects within the carpet. And even on the light fixtures, you could see parts that sort of the carpet reflected what was in the light fixtures. The theming and what they put into it was just amazing. The thoughts of all of it. I did learn that there's over 4,000 pieces of art on the ship. And one thing you would appreciate, because the ship was built in, so there's, the N, the north, south, east, west, and SE. Instead of east, it's an O. And you're like, what does the O stand for? And it's Oest, O-E-S-T, which is east in German, as a nod to the ship being built in Germany. So it was well worth it. It was a fun tour. The ship holds 4,000 people, and there were 3,600 on our ship. Those were a few of our little facts.
The Imagineering that they put into it, Chrissy, aren't you just excited about the treasure and maybe the light fixtures being the light that the Hatbox Ghost holds and just, down the whole hallway? It is just going to be amazing.
I was very excited until you started talking about Hatbox Ghost.
Sorry, I have to throw that in there every now and then, Amy. Thank you so much for obliging me. Anyways, go on with your day.
There'll probably be a Haunted Mansion theme bar, or if they're smart, there will be.
There has to be, right? I don't even like Haunted Mansion. I'm sorry, people. Don't yell. Don't at me. I have a ghost problem. Get over it. But even I will go into the Haunted Mansion bar at least one time.
I'm just thinking,
all of it.
I'm just thinking of the box with something some kind of smoke coming out of it, and you just can't wait to open it to see what's inside.
Okay, that I don't know. Somebody will I'll close my eyes. Somebody will have to look for me. But okay, so what was next? I'm assuming you guys ate lunch next.
Yeah, we had lunch. We had we snacked, sort of all day. And then we had heard all about the barbecue place. Now, I don't eat beef or pork. So I ended up having everyone, and I also want everyone to eat vegetables on vacation because I'm the nurse and the mom. We stopped at Marsley Market. I got salmon. It was so delicious. It was delicious. Like how they make seafood in mass quantities that taste delicious. It was great. And a plate of vegetables. And then we went out to the pool deck to eat. And those two got I think brisket and pulled pork and other meaty things. They all liked everything they ate. I think I had sweet potato fries with mine.
Yeah, they have those.
I think they might have been a little burnt or a little something that day because they weren't memorable. I do remember the salmon and veggies though, so that was good. But Marceline Market, and then we had to skedaddle because we had a 145 DVC member party in Luna. We're DVC members, and they like to give you they put a magnet on our door when we got there, which was fun. And this was a fun game. It was sort of like Family Feud, where you had to do like, what was the number one answer of this? And they needed, front, middle, center. They picked people from the crowd to be the spokesperson. And so my kid, we of course were in the front row. This guy's hand up. And they looked at him, but they're looking around. And finally my husband put his hand up and they called on him. And then he said, "Oh, did you want to go up, Elliot?" So our 12-year-old went up. I don't think they were looking for a kid, but they somehow got a kid. But he's very, he's only, so he's very adult-like and did a great job polling the crowd, getting the answers. What do you guys think I should say? What character is going to be the number 3 most popular character? And it was sort of like Family Feud, like name a Disney character kind of stuff, and name a Disney movie. And as he was our team captain, his gift was a magnet, which is on our dishwasher. Our surprise at the end, we had so you get free cocktails, adults or kid friendly. It was strong, and I was, not drinking too much. So I ended up topping mine off with a kid drink to sort of make it not quite as strong, when it was great. So nice drinks. Our surprise at the end was Pluto came out, and we had a character meet and greet with Pluto. So that was fun. They didn't have the photographer, but we got good pictures on our camera. And then each day on DVC, you get to go to the DVC desk and get some swag. We got new lanyards, we've got luggage tags, we got a string bag, we got chapstick, we got a pop socket, like a little bit of everything. It was fun.
For the DVC desk, you do have to be a Blue Card DVC member. They will scan it or look into your account to see that they can't scan the card anymore. They scan your stateroom.
Yeah.
Yes. To make sure that you are a Blue Card member or one with privileges, I guess DVC privileges, because those gifts are for those. But there's definitely an event that anybody can go to where you can learn more about DVC, and they give away a prize or two during that if you are not already a DVC member.
Maybe they did scan us in, because I feel like it was a DVC thing. Like, I don't think I went to the gone to this one. I didn't go to the open house one where they talked about DVC. There was no talking of DVC. This was just for fun. So it was fun. There were no sales pitches at this. It was great. And then we parted ways. I did the spa at 3, and it was wonderful. And then my kid and husband went to the bingo, but they did not win, but they had fun.
The spa, was it memorable? Like, was it as good as your massage years ago? You only had a 3-day cruise. So do you also feel like it was worth the time? I know you and I went back and forth several times. If like,
I want to spend the time, right? If I want to spend the time, it was a really good massage. The spa there is a little different. It was fine. It was relaxing. Would I do it again? Maybe. I feel like I hear if you go to the spa raffle at the beginning that you can sign up for like a discount package and get like a little this, little that kind of thing. I maybe would consider that, because it was really expensive on the Wish compared to previous cruises. So I don't know, on a scale of 0 to 10, I would give it maybe like a 6. It was fine. It was fine. So I'm glad I went. It was relaxing, which was good. And then I had time to shower and get ready for our dinner, 5:45 early seating at 1923. So that was good. We were actually in our pirate attire for this. We had pirate shirts on. in 1923, I love how there's like the left and the right, the Roy and the Walt side. So you feel like you're walking into the intimate restaurant, beautiful fixtures, beautiful artwork, Disney memorabilia everywhere. Just a really nice dinner. I know people talked about the restaurant feeling crowded, and I didn't really feel it. Like like they say the restaurants are crowded on board. I didn't really feel it. And I don't know if they moved stuff around maybe from what it previously was, but I found it was fine. You had to kind of, as you walk through to get to your table, but once you were there, it was fine. I didn't notice that at all. The boys had steaks. They had the fillets. They both loved it. And then the Christie tip to substitute the potatoes that come with the lamb for the potatoes that come with whatever you order was a great one because we all loved those potatoes. There was like 5 orders at our table. We all had the potatoes.
Those scalloped potatoes are just so memorable.
They're like cheesy scalloped, perfect.
Buttery yumminess.
Quality. Yeah. Perfect potato side dish. I had the salmon, which I wrote here in my notes that was delicious, but which it probably was, but it didn't have sauce. So I don't know if they missed the sauce or it didn't come with sauce. But what I really liked was the ahi appetizer. I really like tuna ahi a lot. And I said I could have had like 5 of those. It was delicious. We shared the tortellini app. We all had a little bite, but the tuna was better. The lemon blueberry dessert I had was not as memorable as the caramel apple crumb cheesecake, which was my favorite. So from that point on, we figured we weren't sure how much how much time we'd have for the Aquamouse. So after dinner, we popped on our bathing suits, even though it was cold and dark, because I was like, well, it's the time, there's going to be no line. And I was right. There was no line, but it was a little cold. I was with a long sleeve dry wick shirt on, and it was cold. That water squirts in your face, but it was so cute. It was watching the cartoons and going up and around. And I wrote it twice. I think they wrote it 3 times, but I was like, I need a towel. I need a towel and a hot shower before the show. Well, had a hot shower before the Rockin' Pirate Parlay, which was amazing. It was like, I have some video dancing, rock music, and then the fireworks. And it was awesome. A lot of party atmosphere after all that. So it was great.
Did your son go to that?
Yes. And he went with the tweens and they were all hanging out together. And we're like, hey, there's our kid. Look at him over there. There's a big pack of them up by the stage dancing around. So it was good. Was there I feel like there was a show that night. Did I not write anything about the show?
Yeah, there would have been either Aladdin or Little Mermaid.
Oh, it was Little Mermaid. We saw Little Mermaid. I guess it was good. It was, not on my notes. It's funny because I was like writing these notes as I went, knowing I'd talk to you guys. And in my notes, I said, it's midnight and my kid's still at the tween club, which it closes at midnight. So I went to bed. I stayed up late that day, later than usual, but he was having a ton of fun and closed down the kids club or the tween club.
I was telling one of my clients a thing that my mom used to do when I was hardly ever up late. Let's be honest. I don't know. I never could stay up late, but if we were going to come home later than she would go to sleep, she would leave a light on and then we would turn it off when we got home or whatever, even on a ship or wherever, so that when she would wake up in the middle of the night, she'd see the light was off and know that we were home. So for you with teens and tweens, if you want to know that your kid made it home, just leave some sort of light on for them, right? And then have them turn it off when you get home. And then you'll know that they made it.
Yes. And this is why I have a travel agent, because you told me that before my trip. And that's what we did. We left that little light on under the console, under the TV with the drapes pulled. So you could see it kind of, but it wasn't keeping you awake. And when I woke up to, and turn around, go to the bathroom, and I'm like, oh, lights off. He's back. All right. Life is good. Go back to bed.
Yeah. Because, moms, especially, I don't know if dads do this, but we wake up, we want to make sure our kid's okay. And then
we're
back
fine
to sleep, right?
That's right. That's probably why I woke up. Yeah. So, and then one thing we did do that night at some point was we ordered room service, not to eat, but to have for breakfast. We ordered the cheese plate. And I, of course, have Ziplocs, as I do. I put the cheese plates in the refrigerator. So that little continental breakfast stretched further with the cheese with it to make us a little protein breakfast.
What a great idea. That is so smart. Amy's always got these little pro tips. What a really good idea. I am going to remember that.
Well, because like you want to have a little, I mean, it's like they bring you a bagel or a pastry or whatever, coffee, fruit. That's fine, but you want to have a little something with it. So I had, I don't know, toast or I don't know, English muffin or something, and then had the cheese with it. So it was like that got us through our Castaway Key morning.
That's brilliant. Before we get on to Castaway really quick, would your son go to the Edge like during the day or only at night after dinner, or how, like, what was his kids club involvement that you can remember?
He ended up joining in a lot of activities. I felt like, and then they would wander off together. So like this day, I think when we went to he went in the middle. So while we're on our tour, like he ate, I think he went and ate on his own because he was talking about eating all this pizza. And then he went to the Edge and checked himself in and out. And I told him to go to the DVC lounge at Luna at 1:45. And we were standing there getting ready to go. And oh yeah, we were standing there. They were checking IDs to get into that one, I think, now that I think of it. And while we were in line, he zipped in and there he was. And he went to the DVC member party with us. And then he played bingo with Jeff and then went again after dinner. So he would check out the programming and attend when he wanted to, but then time it out in between. Like we were doing the adult only tour. So he couldn't do that. And I'm going to the club. And then at one point he texted me, he's like, hey, some kids and I are going to leave and go play basketball. Is that okay? I was like, yeah, that's fine. Now we know where you are. So he would check in. We got him a phone just before the trip, kind of for that reason. So I could kind of watch him on the app and then he could check in with the iMessage, which works without having the internet program, in case anyone doesn't know that.
Okay. So then Castaway Key Day.
Castaway Key. The ship was about 30 minutes delayed because it was super duper windy. And as I'm looking at the app, checking things out, we were dressed, wearing our, bathing suit with a little skirt outfit. So we're all set to go. And our excursion fell off the app. I was like, the excursion fell off the app. And so we went down to the excursion desk. She's like, yeah, everything's canceled. I'm like, what? She's like, it's too windy. Nothing can happen today. We were going to do the hike. It's like, it hikes you to like a secret area that you can't get to unless you're on the tour, and then kayaking. So we said, all right, well, now we're not in a hurry because we don't have a excursion time. And we went, got some fancy cappuccinos and sat there and discussed what we're going to do, and decided that we were going to rent the bikes and have a bike ride. So my friend and her husband went to the adult beach. They had a great time. They said the beach was a little rocky. They're glad they had the shoes. Like that was, I think, in one of your podcasts, to make sure you had good walking shoes to get down there. And they had a nice time. They did get stuck in the rain at one point. By then we were in the covered pavilion. So we just waited it out as it rained sideways. But of course, Disney was prepared with towels. So at least when you got on board, they like wrapped you in a nice warm towel. We decided that we were going to do the 5K, but on bikes. So we rode the 5K this time, turned our bikes back in. My husband kept going and went bird watching to part of the island and did his big old camera bird watching thing. And then I dropped him off. They did the activity called The Edge, took over the vibe, and the teens got to take over the tweens got to take over the teen hideout. He said they found coconuts, played volleyball, and played games for a while, which is where we found him eventually.
Wait, was that on the ship?
On the islands.
On the island. Okay.
Yeah, there's a vibe hideout apparently. And the Edge took it over for 2 hours. So while he did that, I went for a walk. I walked probably another 5K and then went to some of the gift shops, checked out the stuff, got some Castaway Key merch, little change purse. I got a t-shirt, I got a pin, all the fun stuff. And then I ended up bringing him food because I'm like, it's going to be raining. I just know it. So I like ran over there. They have nice cloth napkins on a beach, which is great. Nice cloth napkins and silverware. Ran over a hot dog and cookie and chips and fruit. And then we got there just in time. He was in a free throw contest he had entered, which was also, he took in second place. So that was it. So we kind of all did our own thing and then all met back up again. So it was fun.
I forget what that's called. It's like a cool little hideaway where they have pool and then also free throw shooting and everything else that you can do. And all families can do it, during the day too. It's not just the teens and tweens.
Yeah, they had activities for just the tweens. And then the free throw contest, I think, was open to anybody. So that was kind of fun that we were there for that. It does have a cool name. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, we played pool there before. It's kind of a fun space to just kind of hang out and chill for the day. So, or for a couple hours or a half hour, however long you got to be there.
The meal on the island, barbecue, it was sort of average. I had a black bean burger, and I just think if they would somehow give us like a warm bun, that would make it all a little better.
That is it right there. The buns are just to be desired.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's the humidity, maybe.
I don't know. They're always kind of dry.
Dry and cold. And that makes your food cold because you put cold condiments and a cold bun, and then now your black bean burger is cold. So it was fine. It's like average. But the best part of cookies, as you know, is the ice cream. So as long as there's ice cream, all is good.
Right. Exactly. So last night on the ship, you guys head back. What'd you guys do?
Afternoon first. We're not getting to the evening yet. This is Amy. Well, she's got like 4 things planned.
Like at least 3 paragraphs in here. But after we got back and showered for the day, and then he went to the tween club. And this is the day that we walked out the exterior pathways looking for the walking track, which we never found. Decks 4, 5, and 6. And it's like there's even parts that are like get a fence at sometimes that are open or closed. So you're even more limited. I mean, you could probably walk a bit, but it would be more of an out and back than a lap. I know there's a gym, but it's nice to be outside, especially coming from February in Michigan. You want to have some nice sunny weather. But what our exercise really was, we did 43 flights of steps this day while playing Disney Uncharted Adventure. So the adults in our group played, or at least the 2 of us played the Disney Uncharted Adventure, which, in case you don't know, is a virtual game that's a scavenger hunt throughout the ship. You get assigned a location to start, and you scan the area with your phone, and either you use your phone as a video game controller, or your phone brings to life the painting, and you pull on your phone to we had to catch, who are those little Kokomura guys from Moana? We had to throw little nets to catch them. And that was you pull on your phone and fling off little nets to capture them, or you'd have to tilt your phone and take Peter Pan through Neverland. One of them was broken, but most of them worked fine. The Inside Out one in the sweets shop, Inside Out sweet shop, was cute. We got 2.5 of the 4 quests done, hoping to finish on a future cruise, but we found out that we'll have to start over. So that's okay. We had a ton of fun. We will be one up. We'll know how to do all the games now. We'll be pros.
There's a big reveal at the end, I guess, supposedly too, that everybody gets to go to. That
I heard, and so we didn't go because we didn't finish. I said, we'll go again. We'll be fine. So it's like my Disney World, we did all 4 parks in 2 days. Obviously, we didn't do everything, but I'm we've been before. We'll go again. We'll catch it all eventually. We're having fun doing what we're doing. Through that time, we just sort of we're doing the scavenger hunt, which, is not time. So we'd stop and we'd see characters walk by, or we'd see a live music and we'd watch that for a few minutes. And then the Wish atrium would come to life and we'd watch that. And it was great. This is a story for later in the night but I'll tell it now. We were standing there looking at the atrium, just kind of watching how beautiful it was. And there was just this commotion. We look over, there's just this pack of kids running at us. We're there's our kid. And then I'm there goes our kid. He just turned and waved. They had a piece of paper and they were doing some scavenger hunt. They had to take selfies at different points across the ship, or a different cast member they'd have to go find and take a picture and then run back. And their group didn't win, but had they won, they were handing out free t-shirts. So that would have been, I'm all right, bring up your game next time, kid. Come on with a free t-shirt. I'll study the trivia. We'll come out with some prizes. And that dinner that night was Marvel. The regular seating, 545, the Ant-Man and Wasp show. I'm sure you've heard all about it. We did the cool decor. We liked the screens and all the little stuff going on. Spider-Man is who came out and waved around to us, high-fived my kid, kind of got a few pictures.
So that was the new, because the Spider-Man coming out was new this year.
Correct. No Ant-Man and Wasp came out. And I as much as I love seafood, it's my favorite thing. I don't think I like tuna steak. I've ordered it many times, and again, I did not like it. And I always feel like it's overdone, but maybe it's because I like ahi and not tuna steak. But fortunately, I ordered 2 entrees because, you never can be too careful with dinners. And the pasta with the scallops was just delicious. I couldn't stop eating it. I was getting way too full and I'm like, this is so good. I can't stop. So it was good. Jeff had tenderloin, thought it was tasty. Elliot really liked the chicken schnitzel. Shrimp appetizer was great. Bao buns were a little meh. Jeff said the potato soup was one of the best he's ever had. And Elliot said the broccoli cheese soup was fine, but the Panera one is better. So, and the key lime pie is from someone who has key lime pie every day on her birthday. It's delicious key lime pie. Highly recommend. They like the date pudding, and here we go. So he had a quantum sipper, just brought a little bit of Marvel fun home. And then Aladdin was that night, which is hilarious. I just love the genie. It was a great Aladdin show. We were happy with it. Also,
did you have Aladdin? Because you were on the fantasy before.
Yeah, we did.
Did you have Aladdin then?
We did. This one I think I want to say this might be a little bit better, or maybe I was just I like how the theater comes to life. All the projections on the wall and all the I don't know, the projection mapping, I guess it's called. It just really brought the theater to life and the colors everywhere. And the genie's hilarious. He's cracking us up. So it was fun.
I'm going to have to watch that on a future cruise.
Yeah, it was good. I'm happy we went. Yeah, it cracks me up. It was funny. And then we went back to watch. There was that Wish finale. They run a couple times on the last day. And that's when we saw our kid come running through. He went to the kids club. He skipped the show the first 2 nights, but he decided he wanted to come to Aladdin because he was busy in the Edge, kids club, serious business. So he ended up coming right after Aladdin. He took off, and the final show that night was Heroes and Villains Challenge and a final farewell that was at 11:59 p.m. So
in the club,
in the Edge, 11:59 p.m. It fell onto the next day's schedule because I was like, what is this kid doing? But he had a ton of fun. And so at the morning, we were filling out the survey. I said, anything you want to say? He goes, Edge, 10 out of 10. Excellent. Highly recommend.
Aw.
You got it.
That's really great. And we don't hear enough about the activities at the Edge. So this is really helpful.
Yeah, he had fun with the programming. I just feel like the programming is the key to getting the kids to open up and figure out who, because once you figure out who you have stuff in common with,
right,
you just gravitate toward each other because you're like the same kid from, Colorado or Ohio. Now, I asked him, do you know anyone's name? Get anyone's number? He's like, I think there might have been a kid from Colorado, maybe one from Ohio, but it was fun. It was like a fun on-board fun experience. And then we'll do it again next time.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Heroes and Villains, I think, is really popular. Alex loves that. And he gets them running all over the ship and competing against each other. And if your kid gravitates towards the club like Alex does, and it sounds like your son does as well, it makes it for a memorable cruise for him.
I think so. And yeah, maybe they'll cruise one day together. But those kind of kids that are joiners, participators, just loved it. Had a ton of fun. Then it was sadly time to leave. We decided to express walk off our own bags instead of preparing them, which was easy. The process was easy. You just walked your bags down to the restaurant. The elevators were crazy, but I looked at them we're strong. Down the stairs we go. So we one of us on the landing, we lugged suitcases down to someone at the bottom, all the way down. I think we were on 8 or 7, and we lugged them all the way down. Our dinner was at Marvel because that's where it had been, and it was fine. We got all the way down the suitcases.
So you went to breakfast at 6:45?
Mm-hmm. Because we wanted to get off early. So we went to early breakfast, and it was delicious. The muesli breakfast, it's like a little yogurt fruit muesli thing, was delicious.
Yeah, I loved muesli. I used to eat it when I could eat it.
Yeah, it was tasty. It was a tasty little muesli, and I think we had eggs and whatever else. It was a nice breakfast. And then we decided, per my travel agent's suggestion, we lifted to Saratoga Springs, which was nice because we checked our bags at Bell Services, and we had all day because our flight wasn't till the afternoon. And we looked around Saratoga Springs as DVC people, kind of said hi to the DVC people. Got in line for Gideon's, got some cookies to freeze for the year, had a nice outdoor meal at the boathouse. And it was just the perfect end of the trip. Nice sunny day. We got new phone cases, both of us. Elliot and I, mine's got like the 50th anniversary. He's got Stitch on his. We brought a little bit of our vacation home. So it was wonderful.
You had really nice weather that day.
We did. That was like the perfect day. After that windy Castaway Key day, which it was still any day on a vacation on an island is still beautiful. And you just make the best of it. You know, you duck in if it starts raining, you put a cloth napkin over your head if you have to, and on your hot dog bun, and and rode bikes. You know, it was fun. It was great. It was amazing. So I'm glad we had the overall trip. It was wonderful.
You said that well. It dumped on us over Christmas on Castaway Key that day. So, but do you remember there was some amazing rainbows that afternoon? So, you gotta make lemonade out of lemons sometimes when you're there. Just enjoy what you got. So, I am so happy for you, Amy, that you were able to get back on board a Disney ship and listening to you talk about it. I mean, you could see the excitement and just hear the excitement in your voice to be back out there again and experiencing those experiences, especially for your son out there at the edge. It's so cool. So just kudos to you for being able to get back out there again.
It was wonderful. Yeah. And then I don't know if we want to spoiler alert for our future. We decided we were going to go to Alani this summer. We had it booked. We had points saved and all this and that. I said, well, you know, your kids club, the Edge is a narrow window. You only have like 2 years in there. Maybe we postpone Hawaii and take another cruise. And of course, Alaska's been on my bucket list for about 20 years. I've wanted to go. Price with a guaranteed veranda was very affordable. I put our points up for sale and we got enough to pay for the whole cruise from that, plus a little couple excursions. And so now we are headed to Alaska for another cruise on the Wonder in August. So he gets another shot at the Edge then, and then the following summer to the Edge on the Wish again. So we get to finally make it to Nightingales. Maybe I'll make it finally into that silent dance party. I'll try to win trivia again. All the things that we hashtag goals for our next trip.
Not that this could this just happened to us last time we were at Alani. And if you're there maybe for a couple of days, it might work out better. But our son brought a friend with, and then my older son went as well. So they kind of had a threesome already, but because they're kind of joiners, especially my younger son, he just talks to everybody. They ended up in a hot tub with a bunch of kids, like after dinner one night, and it became a pack. And it was like, even though it wasn't like as structured as being on the cruise, for 4 days, they were out playing football on the sand. They were running around with each other every night. They were playing tag on the beach. So not saying that can happen to you, but it really was like being on a cruise. It was really kind of cool to see that. And I think part of it is just these kids that have grown up kind of doing these Disney type vacations. You know, they're kind of accustomed to it, especially if they've been on a cruise a couple of times, just go up and start talking to other people if they're joiners. And next thing you know, they're off exploring, having a great time.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful to know. Okay, perfect. We'll start. We were already planning on trying to figure out when we're going to do that next. Save up. Now I'm like on such a cruise kick. I'm like,
yeah.
What about Europe? Oh, what about Greece? Oh, look out there. But we will eventually make it to Alani, and that's a great tip. I was thinking either to try to go with another family or. Yeah, he's a joiner, so he probably could find a pack of kids.
Yeah, I was shocked. It was awesome. They had a great time. Same thing too. I think there was a kid from Delaware. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Same thing. Like they hang out for a week, they're BFFs, and at the end of it, hope maybe our paths will cross again one day.
Exactly. And I mean, with all of us that kind of like have gotten into this kind of travel group or whatever, through Disney, the different Disney destinations and products and stuff like that, you never know who you're going to run into. Yeah,
right. Bringing the people together.
So, well, anything else, Christy, as we finish up here? Any other questions you have?
Maybe any tips that you can think of, and maybe you can't, and then you will just not do that section, but any tips you can think of for people cruising the Disney Wish for the first time?
I think the packing cubes were very helpful. We have the magnets that we hang on our wall to hang the lanyards to keep track of them, and that helps. And just other ways of like just staying organized, like pull out what you need, put your packing cube back, pull out your suitcase where you have the bag with the laundry, put it in there, dump out your toiletries to use them, put them back as you go. And then it's sort of just keeping the room organized. I felt like was good. One tip I learned, with me ordering the cheese plate before dinner, before the breakfast, is you could order coffee at night. and it stays hot in the carafe overnight.
So it might on the Wish, which is good to know that it did. It does not stay hot on the other ships. I have tried it because somebody made that suggestion, and maybe it was maybe the Fantasy, or I don't know if it was but we definitely discussed it. I definitely ordered it one night because I was like, this would be easier. That was some cold, gross coffee the next day. Oh,
bummer. And then you could order again though, right? When you wake up,
yeah,
it might take longer. But because it's like, if you're like, well, maybe I'll sleep in, because we're going to try to do some Aurora Borealis viewing at night. So we're going to be up in the middle of the night so I feel, and that I'll try to only do that on the days where we could sleep in. If we're in port at 11, we don't want to have breakfast come at 8 and you decide to sleep till 9 that day, which I never sleep till 9 in Michigan. I was up at 6:30 today on my day off. But on a vacation, if you're up in the middle of the night looking for the Aurora Borealis, you might sleep in, and you not knowing your time, you don't want a room service to show up, but then you want coffee. So you want to walk to go get the coffee. So that's just maybe a tip if it works out. But no, we didn't end up doing it. So I cannot vouch for the coffee, but I will potentially try it in the future and let you know. What other tips? As much as I like the fish exchange, it's fun. I feel like on a shorter cruise, it just would take up too much time. Mm-hmm. So I would maybe pass on that for one of these trips. And just, I don't know, you almost want to just keep a list of the things you want to try to do, because it's like, I don't know what like I was saying, what did we do? We did stuff. We were busy the whole time. And once I pulled up the notes, I realized, but like, we didn't make it to the silent DJ. We never made it to Nightingales, and we wanted to walk the steps and look at all the art the one day. So I felt like we caught a lot of it while we were on that Uncharted adventure. I feel like that's one way to see the ship and to wander around and kind of find where everything was. So that was fun. But yeah, that's probably the stuff. Research your menu, see what you like, have fun.
Well, so much information packed into this episode, Amy. Thank you so much. That was awesome. 2 tips for you when you go out of Vancouver and into Vancouver. Those are the 2 days it may be a little rocky. Just FYI, the rest of it's going to be smooth when you're up through Alaska. Yeah. Okay, so you got that. Yeah. And I mean, I think the biggest tip that we've totally missed that you didn't bring out again, although you talked about it during the show, is that if you really want to get on the Aquamouse, go when it's dark and cold, and you're guaranteed to not have a line.
No line. That's exactly what we did.
Sounds like so much fun.
You get the best tips here at the DCL podcast. We're on it for you. So if it's dark and cold, go ride the mouse.
There's no lines.
Sorry, I'm kind of obnoxious. I got to throw this stuff out there every now and then. But no, seriously, in all honesty, thank you so much. What an awesome show. You get so much information. I want to wish you and the family just all the best as you head to Alaska. It's going to be just an amazing vacation up there. And please, please, please come back and talk about it afterwards.
I will. And thank you guys for having me. And thanks for all your shows and all the tips and tricks we get from you guys. It's wonderful.
Well, those are all Christy's. I'm just the one. I'm the comic, a bad comic, bad dad jokes.
You guys are good. Good content.
All right.
Please,
all the best.
Amy, do not egg him on or get him. What is the word I'm looking for?
Encourage.
Do not encourage that behavior.
All right. All the best to you, Amy, as we head into the summer, and safe travels up to Alaska. We look forward to talking to you then.
Talk soon.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Once again, I really want to thank Amy for coming on and sharing her experiences as they are back sailing with Disney Cruise Line. So happy for her and her family to be back and experiencing all the Disney Cruise Line offers and being back there on vacation on the sea. Really enjoyed all that she brought to this show, and just a wealth of information. Please go ahead and use all those planning tips for all those Uber planners out there like Amy. We'd also like to give a huge shout out to all our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to find out how you can support our show, you can go over to patreon.com/DCL podcast and find out all the information there. They help bring this show to you each and every week ad-free. Thank you so much for all of your support. And also, if you have time, for those of you who can do it, if you'd go over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review, that helps our show get a little bit better known in the Disney cruising, and just the Disney podcasting community in general. Thank you for each and every one of you who've taken the time to do that. Well, we are past the halfway point of the summer, but still enjoying some great vacations out there. If you're headed out on a Disney cruise, Adventures by Disney, getting ready for the Run Disney fall races coming up here soon, or just spending time with family and friends, on behalf of myself, Steve, and all of us here at the DCL podcast, Christy, Nova, and Lake, we want to wish you to be well, enjoy time with family and friends, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.